What's up, SRL League fans, and welcome to the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, our annual running here on Project Cast 2 in the SRL League. It's Le Mans, it's prototypes, and yeah, I hope you guys are settled back, got your popcorn ready. This is going to be a fun one. One of the crown jewel wins of the SRL League season. And I'm definitely really excited to see what's gonna happen. I'm Sandro Doulis, your commentator for the day, and yeah, I can't wait for this race. Really quick, gonna make some changes to the settings of the stream, and I'll be back with you guys in about 5 minutes time. So, stream settings are done. I'm back now, and maybe you guys already had a quick look at our driver lineup for today. We got 12 drivers on the grid. We got 3 manufacturers, obviously the Toyota and the Audi, the 2 official LP1 cars from 2014. And then we got a sole RWD by Cas Nurians on the grid. I'll explain how the selection of the cars went down later on. I mean, we got a lot of time for that. But yeah, for now, we got 12 drivers on the grid. We got a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 2.4-hour race. and I hope you guys are as ready as I am for this event. And it's time to go into the session. Very prestigious race, obviously part of the SRL League Triple Crown. So every single season, this is one race you definitely want to win, at least perform at. Obviously, the Indy 500 is coming in June, and then we got the SRL League Monaco Grand Prix, which is coming up in about a month's time as well. We're gonna go through the grid during the qualifying session. I'll tell you a little bit about who to keep an eye on for today, who might be a favorite heading into this event. But first of all, we definitely have to keep an eye on the weather. Every single year, every single Project Cars 2 race, there is a massive threat of rain, and the drivers know about that. They prepare for the rain, they prepare rain setups, but driving in the rain is always unpredictable, so it will be interesting to see what conditions the drivers have to deal with for today. And it looks sunny. It looks sunny so far. Which I think most drivers will be happy about. We've had enough wet weather racing, at least in Project Cars 2 this year. All drivers remain in the pits for now, and we've lost someone. Can't quite tell who we just lost, but someone just left the session. Not a good sign, unfortunately. Project Cars 2 will always remain a game that has some issues with connection. I think it might have been Logan Allround. No, Logan Allround is still here. Yeah, I can't quite tell, but we definitely lost someone. First car out on track, Jensen Randall, a Le Mans winner in the Toyota. SRL League GT3 champion of Season 2, so he definitely got some sports car experience, especially on this game. And he's definitely someone to keep an eye on, especially in Toyota. I have to say the Toyota is the preferred car, probably the dominant car, especially in the straight line, and fuel efficiency wise as well. We had a week before the race, we had a random draw where we draw if a driver would be racing for Audi or for Toyota, as these two cars are the two dominant cars, and especially the Toyota is quite superior over the Audi. To make it fair, we did a random draw. We gave the drivers the opportunity to choose one of the other cars if they would like to. That has happened with Kaz Nurians, who chose the RWD. But yeah, the other drivers have a Toyota or an Audi. Here we can see Dion Starr, the number 1 Audi, 3-time SRL League Indy 500 winner. And here's the RWD of Kaz Nurians I was just talking about, the number 98 car. As you can hear, this is not a hybrid LMP1. Beautiful engine sound, as I have to say. Let's have a look at our reigning winner at this event. He is Max Mulder, who won the 2022 edition of the SRL League Le Mans 2.4 hours, also in Toyota. If you remember last season, there was a dominant showing by the young Dutchman, and he will definitely try to repeat this win today. So someone has joined back into the session. We're back to 10 drivers. We momentarily, as Max Mulder just misses the chicane completely, we momentarily had 3 drivers out of the session due to a disconnect. Unfortunately, I just can't tell who it was that was gone, but we're now back to 10. We were 12 when we started the session. I think it might have been Senna Hervaya who had a disconnect. Let's just hope that it stays stable for now. But yeah, Project Cars 2 unfortunately always a game that you... And there is Guillermo Garcia back into the session. So we're now back to 11. Unfortunately, this is always a problem with Project Cars 2. You have a lot of disconnects, unfortunately, but let's just hope that it stays stable for the upcoming 3 hours. This is Logan Allrand, the number 3 Audi, who's about to start his flying lap. And here comes the American and goes on to his flying lap. Hard braking for this first chicane, right and then left and then down the crest, Dunlop curve. Really flowing section, have to throw the car into these corners. Stay away from the bottoms on the inside, you can get some aerodynamic damage from them. Don't track extend, as I think Logan Allrand might have done on the inside. The game is going to give you a slowdown penalty if you do. And onto the long straight. The Très Rouge. This is where the Audi suffers, unfortunately. Definitely underpowered compared to the Toyota. Not sure, but I think Logan Allrand might have aborted the lap. Or not. It just sounded like he was lifting, but I think he's still going. This is Cam Weston Edwards in a Toyota, also on his first flying lap. On the Mulsanne straight, braking for the second chicane. Right and then left, and then early on the power to carry all the speed going down into Mulsanne corner. Beautiful exit by the Brit. As you can see in front, he has Logan Allrand. He might sniff a bit of a slipstream. Slipstream, of course, on this track, a big factor as we have long straights. And then this very tricky braking zone into Mulsanne corner. Very clean line there by Cameron Weston Edwards. Definitely looks like he's taking it quite easy. Probably want to put in a banker lap. Only 3 minutes left on the session. This track is very long, so you don't have too many time laps. It looks like Cameron Weston Edwards is settling for a banker lap first of all, and then going on a proper push lap on the second run. And he's approaching Logan Allrand there. I'm not too sure. I think through the Porsche curves, this might affect him, which is not ideal for the number 8 Toyota. And look, Logan Allrand is letting Cameron Weston Edwards through. Good on Logan. Excuse me, that actually wasn't Logan. I think it might have been Senna Hervaya. Now Senna Hervaya is just coming into the final chicane to start his flying lap. But anyway, we're gonna stay with Cam Weston Edwards for now. To see... Oh, there was a little twitch there through the Porsche curves. Jensen Randall puts in the first lap. It's 3 minutes 16.6. Porsche is approaching Cameron Weston Edwards through the Porsche curves. Very, very loose the car seems to be from Cameron Weston Edwards, as you can see twitching on the exit there of karting. And now into this really tricky, really technical final section. Very easy to overshoot it, or to get a slowdown penalty through the second part. Looks clean by Weston Edwards though. Let's see if he can beat the time from Jensen Randall. It's a 3:28.1. That's not enough for provisional pole. This is Max Mola, probably the favorite for today, coming into Arnage. Logan Allrand goes second fastest. Now Sky Skandelmeyer goes second fastest with a 3:21. Jensen Randall still on top of the time sheets for now. And now Max Mulder comes into this really fun section, the Porsche corners. So flowing, you go right, you go left, you go right again, and super fast. One mistake, once on the grass, and your day is ruined. And that's what drivers love. Bit far away from the apex there on the first part of... Oh, he runs very wide there, it seems like. Still carried a lot of speed though. It didn't seem like he lost too much through this section. And let's see what our reigning winner Max Mulder can do. Can he go provisional pole? We will have one more shot if he doesn't do it this time around. Only 6 fastest, so there must have been a mistake from Mulder somewhere. A 3:31 is not competitive and definitely not the standard we are expecting from Max Mulder. Here comes Nick van Gelder on his first flying lap. Looks like he was off somewhere as his car seems to be a bit damaged already. This is Dion Stahl on the Tret Rouge straight. But let's pick up the RWD from Cas Nurians. We have to appreciate the job he's doing. The RWD is definitely the slowest car on the grid here today, but he's running third at the moment for the grid, 5 seconds off Jensen Randall, which is still very respectable in this car. Definitely underpowered compared to especially the Toyota. And the qualifying session is now checkered flagged, so everybody that's just started a lap is allowed to finish it. So Sky Skandelmeyer and Cam Weston and Logan Orland are done for the session. They are both in the pits. Guillermo Garcia is also done for the session as he's in the pits. No time set by the Spaniard. Dion Stahl still without a lap time. He's currently on the Mulsanne straight, heading into Mulsanne corner. But I want to pick up Max Mulder. Definitely expecting a quick lap from the young Dutchman. Hard into Mulsanne corner. Use a lot of the exit curb. This is Tim Ventic through Arnage. Our current SRL League F1 Championship leader, still without a lap time, running 11th at the moment. Yeah, this is a long race after all, 2.4 hours, but you still want track position on the start of this race. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not a neck breaker if you don't have a good qualifying session in such a long race. So. Through the final chicane, Tim Ventic. Let's see where he can put his Toyota on the grid. It's going to be P4 for now for Tim Ventic. Let's pick up Max Mulder again, as he's coming into the final section. Max Mulder, can he take pole position away from Jensen Randall? Looks clean through the chicane. And Mulder goes pole. 3 minute 11.1. That's 5 seconds quicker than the rest of the grid. Can someone answer? Is Cam Weston Edwards on a lap? I don't think he is. Nick van Gelder is still on a lap. He's coming through the Porsche curves now. 3 minute 11.1. What a stunning lap by Max Mulder. You could say that's surprising, but I'm gonna say I expected that from him after the showing after what he showed last season. And Nick van Gelder definitely looks a bit slow, I have to say. Might have suffered some damage to the car. Probably had an off somewhere. But since not everybody's had a lap time, he's going to pick up some spots, I think. And that is qualifying completed. Max Mulder on pole position for Toyota ahead of Jensen Reynolds. So 2 SRL GT3 champions on the front row. Then we got Cas Nurians in the RWD, followed by Sky in the Toyota. Another Toyota by Tim Ventic in 5th. 6th is Logan Orand. 7th Cam Weston Edwards. Then it's Senna via Guillermo Garcia without a lap time. So is Nick van Gelder and Dion Stahl. into the race now. So drivers are doing some final settings, setup and strategy changes. That's why we are on the grid right now. Gonna stay patient for a short while. I hope that's doable, but the excitement is definitely building, I have to say. Even here in the commentary booth. I'm definitely ready for this 2.4-hour race. We got a great grid, some great drivers, and we'll be interested to see if someone can challenge the great Max Mulder. Super impressive qualifying session by the RWD driver Cas Nurians. I did not expect him to be competitive. He made in a random draw, he received Audi as his team, but he decided to, hey, let's take a gamble. Let's go to RWD. And currently it's paying off. He's sitting third ahead of all the Audis. The first Audi is Logan Oran in 6th place at the moment. Obviously, the race pace wise, is obviously a different story. We'll see how that one develops. As I said earlier, it's a long race. The calm before the storm. 2 hours, 25 minutes, or 2.4 hours of pure LMP1 racing here at Le Mans. Get something to eat, get something to drink, lay back, and enjoy this race. And here we are. The drivers approaching the start of this race. Warming up their tires. Coming through the final chicane onto the start-finish line. It's Jensen Randall and Max Mulder on the front row. And away we go for 2.4 hours of racing here at Le Mans. Jensen Randall drops down. Max Mulder is currently in 2nd place. Jensen Randall actually took the lead off the line. Good jump by the Brit. Timing table a little bit screwed up at the moment. There's a spin in the background. The RWD of Cas Nurians is hit. Cas Nurians is around. There's another Audi around. Nurians is got back going. But he seems to have some suspension damage possibly as he's running wide through the middle sector, for the first sector, excuse me. Max Mulder going side by side with Jensen Randall. The timing screen is saying Jensen Randall is running 11th, as you can see on your left-hand side. I can see with my eyes Jensen Randall is leading this race, so I'm not too sure what's going on here. But Jensen Randall is leading this race ahead of Max Mulder, followed by Sky in the Toyota, and then Logan Oran with a great start for Audi, running in P4. There's some battling going on in the background. A Toyota passing an Audi. I think that was Cameron Weston Edwards and Senna Hervire. Senna Hervire going down the inside. No, it's Cameron Weston Edwards down the inside of Senna Hervire. Has to hold back for now. Hard braking zone for the first time here into Mulsanne corner. Do they all get through? A little bit of a lock up there for what looks like Tim Bentig. Tim Bentig now side by side with Nick van Gelder. Oh, 3 wide, there's some contact, and around goes the Toyota. Huge crash in the background. That was Nick van Gelder. 3 wide on the first lap. Oh! That was really close with Guillermo Garcia. 3 wide on the first lap was not a great idea, and Nick van Gelder unfortunately has to pay the price for it. So what an exciting first lap, as so often in Project Cars 2. Remember Daytona, the 2.4 hours of Daytona a couple months ago. A fantastic first lap with a lot of battling going on. Unfortunately, we had these two incidents at the start. I think it was Guillermo Garcia went spinning into turn 1, or turn 2, what it is, the first braking zone at least, who then hit Kerst Luchians, who went around as well in the RWD, and then we just had the crash of Nick van Gelder. Oh, very close there between Sky and Tim. Sky had a look down the inside of Tim Ventic through karting. Thought better of it though, but not without a little bit of contact. And they complete the first lap. Max Mulder currently running what should be second. Jensen Randall is leading this race. And Nick van Gelder already in the pits, obviously for repairs. You can see he's probably has some suspension damage that he needs to fix. And that is a really tough start for the Dutchman into this race. You can already see on the left hand side a few drivers picking up slowdown penalties. That usually happens through oh, there's a lot of strips going on. Through the kink going into onto Trait Rouge. If drivers run wide there, they usually get a slowdown penalty for exceeding track limits. Oh, and around goes the Toyota of Sky Scandalmeyer. Bit of contact with the wall, he was too eager on the power. And he's going to drop all the way down to what currently is 9th place. He just had passed Tim Ventic as well, so he was running strong in 3rd place. But he's now down to P9. We always have to calculate Jensen Randall on top of it, who for some reason is not getting ranked by the sim at the moment. Look how much power the Audi has. Wow, Sky Scandalmeyer just flew past Guillermo Garcia. Look at Kerst Luchians already back up into 5th place. He was down in 10th after the first corner. He's already back up into P5, so Kerst Luchians definitely someone to keep an eye on for the remainder of this event. Max Mulder running 2nd at the moment. Still trying to figure out what happened there with Jensen Randall. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Jensen Randall took the lead away from Max Mulder on the race start, but the game just didn't register him, because the game is saying he's running 11th at the moment, which is incorrect. And Jensen Randall is just not ranked. Interesting. Cam Weston Edwards fighting Dion Stahl at the moment. Oh, side by side between the Toyotas. Cam Weston Edwards against Sky, who's recovering from his spin about a lap ago. Cam Weston Edwards coming back at him though through the first chicane, and Cam Weston Edwards got P7 back. Oh, very deep there from Weston Edwards. Hit one of the bollards as well. You have to be careful with that. Those can give you some body damage. side by side between Sky and Cameron. Great battle going on here between the two Toyotas of Weston Edwards and Sky Skandelmeyer. Going into the second chicane now. Ken Weston Edwards thinks better of it, stays behind his Toyota teammate for the moment. Gonna stay now with Max Mulder, who was caught up to Jensen Randall after the first 2 laps, and he's back in the slipstream now. Nick van Gelder exits the pits now. He was obviously in the pits for repairs after his incident on the first lap. His heart hit into the outside wall on this long straight after he went 3 wide, and Jensen Randall drops down to second. Looks like he might have let Max Mulder pass there. Seems like it. Maybe a little gentleman's agreement there between the two Toyotas, as Max Mulder is definitely the quicker driver for the moment. And Max Mulder is letting Jensen Randall back pass. Okay. Maybe this might be a little bit of fuel strategy. Maybe Max Mulder and Jensen Randall are playing the team game for now, and Max Mulder might want to save some fuel in the slipstream of Jensen Randall. If that's the case, that's a really clever tactical very, very clever tactic there by the Toyotas, as Max Mulder goes deep into turn 2 and has to lift off now, obviously with the slowdown penalty. Send her via pits. Yeah, that's mostly for damage. Look at the front end of his Audi. So second car now in for repairs after Nick van Gelder lost about half a lap in the pits early on. This is Tim Ventink, who's currently running 14 seconds behind Max Mulder, who's second place. He's getting railed in there by the RWD of Kaz Nurians. Currently having a little look at the onboard of Max Mulder. It seems like he's struggling with slowdown penalties at the moment. Here we have the Dutchman, whose last lap was a 3:24.9, so there definitely must have been a mistake somewhere for Max Mulder. That's about 6 seconds slower than his previous lap, which was a 3:18. So he lost a solid amount of time to Jensen Randall. Closest battle on track currently is the battle for P6 between the two Americans. That is obviously Logan Oran, currently second place in our SRL League F1 Championship, who is trying to catch up to Sky Skandelmeyer, who is running a Project Cars 2 only schedule. Max Mulder coming through the final chicane. He's going to start his 6th lap of the race now. Three minutes 17.8, so he's back in his usual 3 minute 17th and 3 minute 18th. Goes a bit deep there through the first section of corners. Last lap around about 4/10 quicker than Jensen Randall, our race leader. And we've lost someone. That was Guillermo Garcia, because Guillermo Garcia has just retired of the session. So about 18 minutes into the race we have our first retirement with Guillermo Garcia, the Spaniard, who is out of this race. So we're down to 10 runners for the remainder of this one. Kaz Nuchians has just passed Tim Ventic. I think Tim Ventic left Kaz Nuchians pass him, because Kaz Nuchians right now is on a mission. He's the 3rd quickest driver on the racetrack right now. The last lap was a 3 minute 21 in a RWD. That's very respectable. for Indianapolis corner. Dion Stahl is having a decent race so far. He's running in the top 5. He's the leading Audi of the bunch. Dion Stahl is currently having a really tricky season. Not the best start to his SRL League F1 season. His GT3 campaign for the 2nd season in a row is hasn't been consistent whatsoever. So definitely good to see Dion Stahl running in the top 5 at the moment. Jenson Randall, a 3-minute 18.2 on the last lap. Max Mulder did an 18.7, so he lost about half a second on that lap on Jenson Randall. As all bollards on the inside are gone, as you can see. There's a battle going on for P4 between Dion Stahl and Tim Ventic. Tim Ventic on the last lap somewhere had an off. He was 7 seconds slower than Dion Stahl. Stahl who ran a 23.2. And Dion Stahl makes the move on Tim Ventic. Ventic misses the chicane, takes out a bollard and is down to P5. And also Dion Stahl trying to catch up to Cas Nuchians now, around 7 seconds ahead of this battle. He's running in the final podium position, but straight by him goes Tim Ventic with a lot of straight line speed. Probably had a little bit of ERS, a little bit of boost left that he definitely used there on the straight into the second chicane to get back past Dion Stahl. Dion Stahl now back in the slipstream, trying to get by Tim Ventic again. There's a great little scrap going on. Oh, and this is a big contact for Sander Herby. I was just trying to pick him up. I saw it on the onboard channel as Nick van Gelder pits again, probably for damage again. Sander Herby had an off, and now his car is completely, destroyed. You can see he's rubbing by the fence. That's not because he's incompetent. That's because he just has suspension damage. He's not gonna wait on the side of the track to let Cas Nuchians by. But yeah, tough break for Sander Herby, who still has to make one sector to get back to the pits for probably a long repair. Talk about repairs, Nick van Gelder in the pits for a second pit stop for repairs. So not an ideal start for the two Dutchmen. Center Havaya finally has made it into his pit stall, and this is going to be a lengthy repair. Probably going to lose at least a lap or two as we just hit the 2-hour mark. You can see the sun is setting here at Le Mans, a beautiful sunset as we know from the French province. And the Audi team is going to work. And we can see the first scheduled pit stops. We got Dion Stahl currently in the pits for Audi, which is to be expected because the Audi can carry less fuel than the Toyotas. Tim Ventic surprisingly is in for Toyota, and so is Sky Skandelmeyer. Logan Orant, the Audi, is in. Very interesting to see a bit of different strategies. These guys are pitting definitely earlier than at least the two leaders. Cam Weston-Edwards has carried on as well. And Dion Stahl and Tim Ventic remain very close together. Never mind. Dion Stahl has jumped Tim Ventic in the pits. So Tim Ventic's pit stop took a little longer than Dion Stahl's, and Dion Stahl has now passed Tim Ventic, which is really clutch because Dion Stahl had real trouble getting past Tim Ventic because of the straight line speed advantage that Tim Ventic has. This is Cam Weston-Edwards, who hasn't made a pit stop yet. You got 8.8 liters left, so I expect him to be pitting this lap, I think. Let's check with Max Molder what his fuel situation is looking like. 6.9, and Max Molder comes into the pits as well for his first pit stop. Really tricky pit lane entry, really tight corner. We have seen in real life a few mistakes being made there, but very well handled by the young Dutchman. And he's going to see his Toyota crew for the first time. So Kaz Nurjans is your new leader. Kaz Nurjans is still having, as you can see on the right hand side, the small number next to the gear selection. Still got 8.4 liters left, so here's a lap more fuel than Max Molder. So very fuel efficient run here by the RWD, the sole RWD in the field. That's something we have to keep an eye on for the remainder of this race, the RWD being really fuel efficient. So Max Molder is back in the lead as Kaz Nurjans has just pitted. He's now 23 seconds behind Max Molder. Excuse me for being so quiet, as we can see the night is railing in. Excuse me for being so quiet for the last 20-ish minutes. We're currently trying to figure out with the stewards what to do with Jensen Randall. Obviously, as you can see, he's running 9th. On the track, he would be running, I think, first, as someone has retired. That is Senna Herweyer. Obviously, Senna Herweyer was multiple laps down after early damage, and he's our second retirement of the day. Yeah, our second retirement of the day, so we're down to 9 drivers now. Yeah, talking about Jensen Randall, the game didn't count as first lap. I think he's running first. I can't tell because obviously the game isn't showing us, but he's listed as P9 because the game didn't count as first lap since Jensen Randall crossed the start-finish line as the leader. which was incorrect because he had P2 as the starting position, and that's why the game didn't count his lap. We're currently trying to figure out if that procedure is correct or not. So that's why I've been so quiet for the last 20 minutes, trying to figure that out. But back to some racing action. Max Mulder on his 11th lap just made his 2 laps ago made his first pit stop of the race. Last lap was a 4:22 because of the pit stop, as the sun has almost fully set now here at Le Mans. As we have 3 Toyotas going into the Porsche curves. In front, that should be Nick van Gelder, who's a lap down. Then we got, I think it's Jensen Randall and Max Mulder. Obviously, there are no blue flags in endurance racing, so if Nick van Gelder wants to stay in front of these two, he can. This is nothing illegal, not like F1 where you got the blue flags, of course. This is all fair and square by Van Gelder. And his Toyota teammates are going to have to work their way around the Dutchman. As now Jensen Randall goes down the inside of Van Gelder into turn 1. And Max Mulder lunges down the inside of Van Gelder as well. That was quite a lot of risk there by Max Mulder, which I'm not too sure is the ideal thing to do so early on in the race on a lap car if you're in a great position like Max Mulder is. But hey, he got past him, and Max Mulder has now cleared lap traffic. Or he might have. Obviously, we're still trying to figure out if Jensen Randall is lap traffic or not. But yeah, I'll keep you updated on the situation. So, I'm finally going to be back full-time with you guys. Really had to get the situation with Jensen Randall cleared. So we're going to move to Jensen Randall, quickly explain what happened. As we can see, Jensen Randall running really wide. So on the race start, obviously Jensen Randall was lining up second on the grid with Max Mulder, the leader. You can obviously skip back in our stream and have a look at what happened. So what happened was the game released the drivers, always in this game, unfortunately. They released them side by side, even though obviously Max Mulder was on pole position, so it's not quite equal. Jensen Randall got the better launch from the AI, which released him. But that's not where Jensen Randall received his penalty. Jensen Randall received his penalty about 3 or 4 seconds after the restart. You can see it on the top left on the timing screen. Because Jensen Randall crossed the timing line first, which he's not allowed to, since obviously he didn't get pole position. That is unfortunate for Jensen, because I'm not sure if everybody knows about this. I personally wasn't too sure, like I personally didn't know about this, but technically seen, it's not a wrong penalty, because the first one to cross the timing line to start the race should put the guy on pole position. Now you could say, oh yeah, it's the AI's fault though, because he got released earlier. On one hand, yes, it's unfortunate. On the second hand, Jensen had still around 3 or 4 seconds to not cross the line as the first driver. He could have just lifted in this case, and let Max Mulder start the race, which was the thing he needed to do, since Max Mulder was on pole position. Obviously, he didn't know about getting this 1 lap penalty in the process, because the game did not register his first flying lap, as he started the lap before the leader. So that is why Jensen Randall was listed all the way down in last place, and technically a lap down. This is a harsh penalty by the game, but there's nothing that we can remove, because the game gave him this 1 lap penalty. We can't just give a lap back and count him a lap ahead for the rest of the race. So Jensen Randall basically did a jump start, and his first lap wasn't counted. So officially said, Jensen Randall is running in 8th position. Max Mulder is leading this race ahead of Kersten Nurjans, about half a minute in front of the RWD driver, followed by Leon Starr another half minute behind. Then it's Tim Ventig in 4th place for Audi, the second Audi, Leon Starr obviously being the leading Audi in 3rd. And then it's Guy Scannelmeyer, another 12 seconds behind Tim Ventig. So that as a little update, as we have now moved into the night time. Really sorry, obviously, that I've been quite quiet for the last 30 minutes, but we've just been trying to figure it out, which obviously is really important for the outcome of this race. So I hope I hope you're still here. I hope you're still watching. This race still has over 1 hour and 30 minutes to go, so a lot of racing to go, and it will be interesting to see if Jensen Randall can possibly recover from this 1 lap penalty, basically, which the game gave him for starting the race before the race leader. In the meantime, I think Nick van Gelder had another pit stop for repairs. No, he didn't, excuse me. That was before the scheduled pit stop. Nick van Gelder is actually battling Jensen Randall for P8 at the moment. The driver you can see in front of them, that's Max Mulder. He's a lap ahead. Side by side between the 2 Audis. Looks like Nick van Gelder might be a little more trimmed out. So Jensen Randall possibly running a bit more wings. Now a lot of slipstream here for Jensen Randall. But look, he can't get too much closer, so I really think that Nick van Gelder, oh excuse me, that is Nick van Gelder actually, that we're looking at. I got my Toyotas mixed up. Nick van Gelder has a look down the inside of Randall. Randall breaks a bit later. Does he get the corner? Yes, he does. And a good exit as well. So good defensive driving there by Jensen Randall, who stays in P8 for now. As they fly down the Mulsanne straight into Mulsanne corner. It's about 50 minutes into the race. We got 2 retirements already. First we lost Guillermo Garcia, who was the first retirement of the day. And then was Senna Hervey about 15 minutes ago, who retired due to severe damage to his Audi and being multiple laps down. As this battle for P8 continues. About 2 seconds ahead of this battle is Cameron Weston Edwards, who I think, yeah, who just let Max Mulder, the leader, pass him. And Cameron Weston Edwards seems to be very slow at the moment. Not too sure what's going on with Weston Edwards, but he just lost 2 seconds in the matter of one straight. I think he might have had an off somewhere, possibly have picked up some damage, because he's definitely struggling right now, and Jensen Randall is shaping up to make a move on his fellow Brit. Bit wide there by Randall. The chicane, oh, very late braking there by Nick Vantrell, almost tried a move there on Jensen Randall. Yeah, Weston Edwards just posted a 3-minute 35.6. Last lap around it was a 3:33. So he's about 11 seconds a lap slower than the cars behind him. So I think he might have suffered some damage somewhere and is just trying to carry on and, yeah, take this damage to the next pit stop to fix it. That is why he was reeled in by the two, Randall and Van Gelder, so quickly. You can see Cameron Weston Edwards' lines are very off, so possibly some suspension damage, as I can imagine. Randall just passed him around the outside. And now it's Nick van Gelder's turn to pass him. So now Cameron Weston Edwards running in the last position. Dion Stahl pits. Now, is this scheduled? It is, yeah, that is his second scheduled pit stop for Dion Stahl. You can see on the right hand side, 6.7 liters left. That is not enough for another lap, so the Dutchman comes in for his second scheduled pit stop, currently running in 3rd place. And more people follow him into the pits. That is Tim Ventic. And Sky Skandelmeyer. Oh, I think Tim Ventic is missing his rear wing. I was about to say, the gap between Skandelmeyer and Ventic is really tiny. It was a bit larger before this lap. And I think Tim Ventic had it on off somewhere. And there's going to be a lengthy pit stop for him. They have to make some bodywork repairs, at least change the rear wing, the rear part of this car. That shouldn't take too long, but if he suffered some suspension damage, this could be a very long repair pit stop for Tim Ventic. Let's see. Skandelmeyer's pit stop is scheduled. But what about Ventic? Dion Stahl is back out on track. He just dropped behind Logan Orand in number 3 Audi, who is now in 3rd place, but he still has to make a pit stop. Skandelmeyer gets going. Ventic still in the pits, so Ventic is at least going to lose 1 position due to his off on this lap. Dion Stahl now side by side with Logan Orand, and Orand drops to P4 again. And probably has to make a pit stop on this lap. And Ventic exits his pit stall and goes back out. Ventic lost about, let it be around half a minute due to his repairs to his rear wing at least. And we have another retirement. We're just talking about him. Cameron Weston Edwards has retired from this race. So the 3rd retirement of the day. Obviously, Cameron Weston Edwards suffered a lot of damage, it seemed like it, and that is the Brits' day done, unfortunately. So we're down to 8 runners in this race. Guillermo Garcia, Senna Hervey and Cameron Weston Edwards out of the session. Nick van Gelder, P8 in the pits. This might be his scheduled pit stop actually. We got Mario Seidel in the chat saying cool drivers, nice, thanks, like to hear that. We definitely have a few good drivers on the grid here today. Obviously, first and foremost Max Mulder, who's leading by 48 seconds, our reigning Le Mans champion. I have to agree with you that the sound effect in this game is really well done. Sound effect in this game is great. Car selection is good, really good tracks. Also, probably in my opinion, the best weather system in any racing sim there is. So, Project Cars 2 definitely ahead of his time. Not only that, but also very underrated in my opinion. As Max Moller got a little bit loose there on the braking for Mulsanne corner. Jensen Randall, last lap around was the quickest car on the track with a 3 minute 21. I think the fastest lap is still the 3 minute 17 by Max Mulder early on. And we're now exactly 1 hour into this race. So let's do a little run for the grid. Max Mulder, our reigning SRL Le Mans winner in 2022, is leading this race by about 47 seconds over Cas Nurians in the RWD, so a fantastic run by the Dutchman, who is the only driver to not drive a Toyota or Audi. Dion Stahl currently running in 3rd position for Audi, so he's the first Audi. He's running 2 minutes behind leader Max Mulder. Then we got Logan Orand. I'm not too sure, but I think Logan Orand, let me see. No, Logan Orand is actually running P4. Oh, excuse me, I got my Toyota, I got my Americans messed up here. That's Guy Skandelmeyer who's running in P4 for Toyota. Then about 20 seconds behind, it's Logan Orand. As we can see, I think the track is getting quite greasy and damp. I was about to say, I could possibly hear some raindrops in the background. I can't see any. But the track definitely looks a bit damp here, so we might have a change of conditions. Max Mulder makes his way into the pits. That is scheduled. So scheduled pit stop for the race leader. Jensen Randall also makes his way into the pits. This is clutch now because obviously it's starting to rain. Yeah, it's starting to rain and these two have to pit now because they're out of fuel. So Jensen Randall and Max Mulder. Will they put on dries or wets? I just seen on Max Mulder's onboard that he put wet driver. Yeah, Max Mulder put excuse my English. Max Mulder put wet dryers. Max Mulder put the wet compound on his Toyota for sure. So Max Mulder is going onto the wet tires. I think he might be the first one. Cas Nurians takes the lead of this race. But the track is wet. This went super quickly. Usually you see the rain first and it takes around 20 minutes-ish until the track is wet. I didn't even see the rain. The track is wet. I think you could just see coming down Dunlop curve that there was some spray. So maybe like a light drizzle, but obviously there's no sun out as we're in the middle of the night here at Le Mans. That meaning the track temperature is down, meaning the track gets wetter quickly. And Max Mulder was off. Max Mulder just ran off the racetrack. Lost a bunch of time on his wet tires. I think they might be overheating. It might not be time for wet tires yet. This is a really interesting phase of this race. Let's stay with Mulder for now. Nurian's last lap was a 38, so he probably went off somewhere. Here you can see there's some rain, okay. You can see some rain here, so it's definitely coming down. Let's hop inside the cockpit of Max Mulder. A great view, in my opinion. Heartbreaking for the second chicane. Oh, he runs really deep. He's definitely struggling on those wet tires. I don't think it's quite wet enough for wet tires yet. But he had to make that move because he made a pit stop. And doing an extra pit stop would probably cost him the lead to Cas Nurians, who was in striking distance. Yes, he was 49 seconds away. He was 2 laps better on his fuel run though, as the car ahead goes really deep. I think that might be Jensen Randall, who's a lap down. It is. Side by side now. As Max Mulder has made his way past the lap car of Jensen Randall. I think it's starting to get more and more wet, which is definitely what Max Mulder was hoping for on his wet tires. As more drivers pit now. So we got Sky Skandelmeyer in the pits, we got Tim Bendick in the pits, and we got Logan Orand in the pits. And for Logan Orand, at least, I know he is a bit off sequence. This is definitely a stop for wet tires. And this is Max Mulder right behind Cas Nurians. Cas Nurians is super slow on his slick tires. It's definitely wet tire time. You can see the amount of spray coming from his car. And Nurians pits. And Max Mulder takes the lead back. So after all, it was the right thing to do for Max Mulder to go into the wet tires. What looked like could be a chance for Cas Nurians at the start of this lap turned out to be a massive loss of time, as Nurians is now in the pits for a set of wet tires. And Jensen Randall, who pitted together with Max Mulder, who elected the slick tires, I think, is now pitting for wets as well. So I think Max Mulder, race leader, pulled a perfect strategy call. I think he just ran off in the gravel though. Shouldn't do that too often. But he got a decent gap on the rest of the field. The treacherous night at Le Mans. The rain is coming down in the middle of the forest. As Max Mulder in his Toyota flies down the Mulsanne straight into Mulsanne corner. He's now leading by a minute over Cas Nurians. Dion Staal, who is putting, I think that's Nick van Gelder, a lap down. It is. Dion Staal is now only 6 seconds behind Cas Nurians, so Cas Nurians lost about 11 seconds through staying out this one more lap on the slick tires. As Dion Staal goes a bit deep and Nick van Gelder goes back past with the amazing acceleration of the Toyota. Let's take a quick moment and have a look at the timing sheets to possibly look at some penalties, as That was Dion Stahl. Missed the chicane. Had a big old slide going into the corner. Under braking. So we got Dion Stahl with 8 seconds worth of time penalties. That's a big hit. That is a big hit. Might come into play at the end of this race. We have to keep an eye on that. Tim Ventic got a 5-second time penalty. I think that was for a jump start, possibly. So you might be asking, why did Jensen Randall get... why did his first lap not count towards his race? That in this case is because he passed the leader and basically started the race instead of the leader, which the game penalizes by apparently not counting his first lap. And then we got Jensen Rand, no, that's Nick van Gelder, excuse me, with 6 seconds worth of time penalty. He's currently running in P7. Right now, that would cost him a position to Jensen Randall. He would drop down to 8. There was someone off. Not sure who that was. Cas Nuchians. Cas Nuchians was in the wall coming into Indianapolis. The RWD is missing his rear engine cover and definitely has suffered suspension damage, as you can see. Oh, this is terrible for Cas Nuchians. It's so difficult on this game to get back to the pits if you have suspension damage. The car is just doing exactly what you not wanted to do. Sky Skandelmeyer also in the pits for a second time. Must be for the repairs as well. So this race has just fallen apart for Cas Nuchians. He was leading about 1.5 laps ago, and now he's looking at a long repair stop. If he can even make it back to the pits. Luckily for him, he got about 1.5 minutes on Tim Ventic to stay on this podium at least. Oh wow, oh wow. Dion Stahl is in the pits as well. I wonder what's that for. I mean, he's definitely taking wet tires. He must have been on wet tires before, hasn't he? When he was struggling, he might have been still on slicks. Unfortunately, I can't tell. Yeah, those are slick tires coming off his car, so he's making a pit stop for wet tires. So Dion Stahl was still out on slick tires, so props to him. I mean, as you can look on the last lap, he did a 4:01. You don't lose too much time coming into the pits here, so he was definitely struggling. You could see it for the second chicane especially. But Dion Stahl now effectively still second place, since Cas Nuchians, who's now trying his best to come into the pits. There he is. He made it, thankfully. After his off, has to deal with a long repair pit stop, unfortunately. And I can't imagine he will lose a position to Tim Ventic, as the fog has gotten really thick here. So if you remember Donington a few weeks ago in the GT3 Championship, we had this terrible weather with a lot of fog and a lot of rain, and it seems like this weather has followed us to Le Mans here in France. So here comes Tim Ventic through the Porsche corners, coming into the final corner. You can only see the headlights, of course. There he is. Like he's cutting through clouds. Wow. You can't see anything. Those are terrible conditions here at Le Mans. You can only see the headlights of the cars as the rain is coming down hard. The fog is really, really thick. And Tim Ventic takes P3 as Cas Nuchians is still in the pits for repairs after his off on the last lap. He loses another position to Orand, who moves into P5 now. So the American in 4th place. This is Dion Stahl. He's now officially running second behind Max Mulder, so he's the closest rival to Max Mulder, who is about 2 minutes ahead. And Nuchians is back out on the racetrack. And just reading on the live chat, Nick van Gelder apologizing to Cas Nugrians. He says, there was so much closing speed, it caught me off guard. So this was not a mistake by Cas Nugrians. Apparently there was a coming together between him and the lap car of Nick van Gelder. Oh, that is a really unfortunate situation for Cas Nugrians. Losing a podium and a possible shot at the win through a lap car is never something you want to see in racing. And unfortunately, this fate has hit Cas Nugrians today by coming together with Nick van Gelder. I'll quickly take a look at Nick van Gelder's onboard to see if I can find a shot of the incident. And yes, indeed, I just looked back at it. Nick van Gelder was running behind Cas Nugrians, and obviously Toyota got massive overspeed with the slipstream as well. And in all of the spray, Nick van Gelder just misjudged that Cas Nugrians was going really slowly and rear-ended Cas Nugrians. So that caused Cas Nugrians to go off the racetrack. Oh, that is such an unfortunate incident. Surprisingly, Tim Ventic is currently the quickest car on the racetrack. Tim Ventic did a 3:32 on the last lap. This time around it was a 3:36, about 2 seconds slower than Max Mulder. This is everything you can see. Just the headlights. The fog is that thick here at Le Mans at the moment. Middle of the night, it's raining, it's foggy. Those are some really poor conditions for these drivers to handle with. And Tim Ventic goes a bit deep. That's all you can see, just the headlights in the distance. As a driver, really tricky. Driving in the middle of the night here at Le Mans with all this fog, the rain coming down hard. Those are some very, very treacherous conditions for these drivers. Those headlights are vital at the moment, because that's all they can trust. I mean, look what you can see as a viewer, and just imagine what the drivers can see on the racetrack. It's not a whole lot better. And we have just lost Jensen Randall. Jensen Randall is out of this race. I think this might be a disconnect. I think Jensen Randall has just disconnected. Jensen Randall was running in P7. Obviously had this long debate about what happened there at the start, why his first lap didn't count. Obviously, at the end came to the conclusion that he started the race before the leader did. That's why the game didn't count his first lap. But Jensen Randall is unfortunately out of the race. So that is the 4th retirement of the day. So we got Mario Seidel in the live chat. He's saying it's a good motorsport live stream, he's enjoying the stream and he has subscribed to the channel. And he's saying goodbye and have a nice day. Thank you very much, Mario. Nice to see you watching the stream, enjoying it as well, and leaving a subscription here. We got definitely more racing action coming up. Next week we're going to return with the pinnacle of SRL, the SRL League F1 League. Going to be at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, a true classic. So maybe we'll see you there in the live chat as well. And yeah, have a nice rest of the day as well. We just saw Tim Benting going off in the first sector. As the sun is starting to come out a little bit, at least it's rising somewhere behind those clouds as the drivers are approaching the morning now. (3 minutes 35 last time around for Max Molder. But once again, Tim Ventic, the fastest driver on the racetrack. Commentator's curse, he just went off. Thankfully kept it in a straight line, so didn't lose too much time. But I think we saw that at Donington as well. As the rain came down, Tim Ventic had great pace, so Tim Ventic definitely excels in the wet on Project Cars 2. Oh, a bit deep there by Mulder, who lost the front end coming through the last part of the Porsche corners. As he's going to complete his 24th lap of the race. And we are just approaching the 1 hour mark. Oh, a bit deep there through the final chicane. That is a 3-minute 32.5 for Mulder, last lap around. It's really just... It's mostly the fog. The rain just seems to be a bit of on the grass there for Mulder. It's mainly the fog. The rain is just a bit of a drizzle. You can see that by... Obviously, there are no real puddles forming at the moment, which on Project Cars 2 is definitely really important, because these puddles can, as we saw at Donington for example, these can affect those races so much. If you have a puddle in the middle of an apex, for example, in the middle of a corner, that can change the race. There we have a puddle, and Mulder hits the puddle and misses the chicane. So, forget what I just said. There are definitely puddles on the racetrack. Let's pick up Sky Schandelmeyer. Schandelmeyer. I'm probably butchering his name. I'm really sorry about that. Let's just call him Sky for now. Sky, in his second ever SRL League outing, he is he's driving a Project Cars 2 only campaign. Also, he had his first start last time around in the GT3 Championship in Donington Park, and is now running here in P6 at Le Mans for Toyota. 31.6 by Tim Ventic on the last lap. This is Dion Stahl in the Audi. Could be a possible Audi podium here. Which, I'm going to be totally honest, heading into this race, didn't look too likely. Obviously the Audi drivers being really unhappy with the performance of the car. And to be honest, rightfully so, the Audi is definitely underpowered compared to the Toyota. But Dion Stahl, making the best out of it. He's kept his nose clean. Hasn't made mistakes, and he's running in second place. And in endurance racing, that's really what matters. Keeping your nose clean, being consistent, not making mistakes, and you're gonna get a good result. And that's exactly what Dion Stahl is doing today. Ah, this puddle on the inside of the first chicane is really treacherous, because it's right in the braking zone when you move on to the apex. That's difficult for the drivers to handle. I think we will see some more drivers miss the first chicane there. Max Moller last lap around also cracked into the 31s with 39.9. Oh, bit of a moment there from Dion Stahl. Lost it on the braking. Oh, there's some contact between Tim Ventic and... who else? Nick van Gelder? I think I might have to call out Van Gelder here. Yes, we were talking about lap cars earlier on in endurance racing, and it's surely it's Nick van Gelder's right to not move out of the way for Tim Ventic, as there are no blue flags. It's not required. But I don't see the point. Nick van Gelder is running 5 minutes behind race leader Max Mulder, over 5 minutes. He's running over half a minute behind the next car. He's not really battling anyone. He's multiple laps down. And he has the P3 car approaching behind him. Don't say he has to pull over, but is it really necessary to battle him, make contact with him, and risk a possible crash? In my opinion, it's not. And as much as I like Nick, I think this is something that I've noticed multiple times in the past, that sometimes he, as the sun is coming out, this is a really nice shot. Sometimes when he's racing, I feel like he's just thinking for the moment, and he's not thinking about possible consequences that could lead out of the situation. If this contact would have been a bit bigger, he would have taken out another leader. And yes, necessarily, it's not his fault necessarily, but he was the one that didn't move out of the way. And as a lapped car, especially if you're not battling anyone, I don't see the reason why you just didn't let him pass. And Tim Ventic is now in the pits. Excuse me, I think I just said Tim Ventic all the time. I was obviously talking about Dion Stahl in the Audi. Tim Ventic now in the pits. Scheduled pit stop. Should be, I think, one more pit stop to go for the Dutchman after this one. And this is most likely dropping Tim Ventic to P5, as it looks like. Logan Orand and Cas Nugrians will jump him. Been a near perfect race so far for Max Mulder. Had this one off when the rain started, but apart from that, this has been pretty much a perfect run for Max Mulder so far. And it's showing on the timing table on the left hand side, leading by over 2 minutes. Cas Nugrians is getting closer and closer to Logan Orand, the two being separated by about 8 seconds now, as Sky has just entered the pits for his scheduled pit stop in number 8 Toyota. And Sky comes back out of the pits and is now running in 7th place behind Nick van Gelder, who moves up to 6th. But obviously Van Gelder also still has to make another pit stop. On this pit stop cycle I'm talking about. Race leader Max Moeller comes into the pits for his scheduled pit stop. Fresh set of tires, I imagine, and obviously a lot of fuel going into the Toyota. Logan Oran follows him into the pits as well for Audi. The two these two usually battle each other when it comes to these Project Cars 2 races. Unfortunately today Logan Oran has been a little off. Of course he's running the underpowered Audi, but even if we just look at the Audis, he's far behind his Audi teammate Dion Stahl. And just hasn't been the best of performances by Logan Oran today, who obviously won our last 2.4-hour race at Daytona for Ferrari in the GT3 Championship early on in November. And Max Moeller back out on the racetrack, lost about a minute, but is still the race leader. Oh, a bit deep there by Mulder. Shouldn't get too close to the wall there. That's Max Moeller being followed by a few lap cars. Oh, that's Tim Vendick against Logan Oran. Grab your popcorn, guys. The two SRL League F1 rivals battling each other. I think Logan Oran might have bullied Tim Vendick a bit off the way. No love lost between these guys. Doesn't matter which series, apparently. These two have banged heads multiple times this SRL League F1 season, especially after they're coming together at Spain, which Logan Oran got a 5-second time penalty, losing him the win post-race. Obviously, a week ago at Canada, Tim Vendick squeezing Logan Oran against the outside wall on the straight. And these two are championship rivals, teammates at the same time, and now here battling at Le Mans. And now Vendick is being attacked by... what is Max Moeller, our race leader? If I'd be Max Moeller, I would take it really easy now. You don't want to get caught up in this altercation between Vendick and Oran, and around goes Tim Vendick into the wall. He caught a puddle. There was a puddle and he just hit it. And there was no chance. Aquaplaning off the track. Let's see if he has to pit for damage. He has to. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Tim Ventic. Was looking at a possible podium here. Oh, now an unscheduled pit stop for repairs. Oh, that is unfortunate to see. And in he comes. SRL League F1 Championship leader. SRL League F1 Season 5 champion. In for repairs. Oh, Logan Allround misses the corner, and so does race leader Max Mulder. And Max Mulder spins. Max Mulder goes around. Or just a half spin, as it looked like. He didn't lose too much time. But definitely looks like track conditions are not getting better. The fog is slowly but surely disappearing, apparently. Dion Stahl, P2 in the pits. Tim Ventic comes out of the pits again. He's just dropped down to 6th place behind Nick van Gelder. And out of the pits comes Dion Stahl, around 2 minutes behind Max Mulder. To be fair, it was about 2 minutes and 8 seconds before the pit stop cycle. Now it's 2 minutes and 3 seconds. So about 5 seconds gained there by Stahl, probably due to Max Mulder's off about a minute ago. And off goes Stahl, same section as Max Mulder. Looks like the sky's lightening up a little bit. Not sure if the rain has stopped, it might have. It's still okay, it's still coming down. But at least the visibility seems to be a bit better for the drivers. With the fog being gone. Oh, Mulder goes for a little spin through Mulsanne corner. And so does the Audi. There's contact. There's contact. Flipping the car back around. I think that was Logan Orange. Logan Orange has just hit the leader. Is there damage to Max Mulder? There was a clean hit onto the rear suspension. Yeah, Max Mulder waited for Logan Orange to go by. Orange also spun around. But flipping his car back around, I think it just wasn't looking where Max Mulder was. I really hope those two cars, especially the one of Max Mulder, who's our race leader, are not damaged. It looks fine so far, though. That was a really scary moment. Let's see if Mulder pits. I don't think he does. I mean, his car seems to be fine, at least from the outside perspective. Yeah, Mulder stays out. Thankfully, I have to say. That cost Max Mulder almost 10 seconds on the last lap. Dion Stahl is now 1 minute and 57 seconds behind Max Mulder. But we always have to remember that Dion Stahl still has around 9 seconds worth of timing penalties. Nick van Gelder now has 16. As him and Tim Ventic are separated by 5 seconds. So right now that would lose Nick van Gelder at least one position. I think the sun might start to come out here. I think the skies are clearing. We got 36 minutes to go. We might get a bit of dry running at the end of this one, possibly. I'm expecting one more pit stop. We got on the right hand side, you can see 44 liters left. You need about, I think, I'm not too sure, I think like 8 liters per lap. As Nick van Gelder has entered the pits, he's off sequence compared to some of the other drivers. Tim Ventic also comes into the pits. That's surprising. Oh, look at this front left. His headlight is damaged, and there must have been another off, or possibly some contact with Nick van Gelder, maybe. Tim Ventic's race is falling apart, unfortunately. And Tim Ventic gets moving again. So does Nick van Gelder. And that is Sky in the pits as well at the moment. So 3 Toyotas pitting. The RWD of Kersten Nuchians is going to join them. Also for a scheduled pit stop. Let me check on Dion Stahl's current fuel situation. He got about 39 liters left. So pretty much the same amount that Max Mulder has left. And Cass is coming out in front of the Toyota. Not too sure which Toyota that is. Is that Mulder? Yeah, that's our leader, Max Mulder. He's looking at possibly putting Cass Nukians a lap down here. A bit of a cut there by Max Mulder. Possibly has received a slowdown penalty. Again, a bit wide as he has to deal with that dirty air and spray from the car in front. And through goes Mulder. I have to say that straight line speed on the RWD doesn't look too poor as... Whoa, big moment there for Mulder. I think he got into the standing water on the inside. As he flies through the gravel. Straight line speed of the RWD, not as bad as you might think. I think it might be even better than the Audi's straight line speed. Ooh, little look from Mulder. Shouldn't take too many risks here. Now Mulder to the inside, going into Mulsanne corner, and he puts Cass Nukians one lap down. Closest battle on track right now is Tim Bentig versus Nick van Gelder for P5. Obviously only 7 cars left in this race. We have 4 retirements. Starting off, Guillermo Garcia retired quite early on, then followed by Senna Hervire. Then we lost Cameron Weston Edwards, unfortunately, and then Jensen Randall. Those are our 4 retirements. We've got 7 cars left back out on the racetrack. Bentig side by side with Van Gelder through the chicane. Van Gelder remains 5th. Tim Bentig, I think, might have gotten a slowdown penalty there on the exit. As Guy Skandelmeyer's just moved back into the pits. Must be for the repairs. I mean, he obviously just made his final pit stop about a lap ago. We are about 2 hours into this race. We got 30 minutes left. Oh, big moment there from Tim Bentig. Just lost the rear end. But a poor exit from Nick van Gelder. Big run there from Tim Bentig. Moves down to the inside of Van Gelder. Into the kink. And Van Gelder drops down to 6th. Tim Bentig up into top 5. through Indianapolis. This really tricky corner, especially under braking, because you move through this high-speed kink and right away have to slam on the brakes. Very easy to lose the rear end through that corner. The gap between Mulder and Dion Stahl has come down slightly. We are now talking about a gap of about 1 minute and 50 seconds. I think Mulder just went for a spin. Just as we moved away from him, I heard his engine, his RPMs dropping. I think he just went for a little spin, lost about 2 seconds. I mean, you can't afford it, you got the gap, but you probably don't want to do it too many more times. Because every single time you spin, that's a risk of possible damage. Nick van Gelder moves into the pits, so does Tim Ventic. Again. This might be a pit stop for slick tires. They just made their scheduled pit stop about 2 laps ago. So possibly Sky also pitted for the dry tires. The track is drying up as the sun is shining after a long rain shower during the night time. Basically rained the entire night. And Tim Ventic and Nick van Gelder are in the pits. Let's see which pit crew does the better job here at Toyota and gets their driver out in front. Tim Ventic gets going. Nick van Gelder still stationary, and Tim Ventic has gained the position. So good job by Tim Ventic's crew. And there's Kaz Nukians, who is a lap ahead. Nukians, who was the quickest driver on the racetrack last lap, with a 3 minute 31.2. Yeah, look, the dry line is definitely forming. You can see offline, it's still a bit wet under those trees. Obviously, it dries up a lot slower. You got a bit of spray left, for sure. But here in these areas where the sun is shining, the track dries up quite quickly. Those puddles will remain, especially coming into this next chicane, as you can see on the right-hand side, on the inside of the corner. Right there. You have to stay away from that. Nick van Gelder doesn't, and keeps it straight. Props to him. Good exit by van Gelder. Whoa, that was really close. Van Gelder using little strip of runoff area next to the straight. I think Tim Ventic has saved up his ERS boost and stayed in front somehow, even though Van Gelder got that huge exit. Van Gelder stays in the slipstream. Nukians definitely helping Tim Ventic right now, because he might sniff a bit of slipstream. Nick van Gelder goes deep, hits Tim Ventic into the rear end. Tim Ventic goes around in the gravel. That's on that's on Nick van Gelder. Nick van Gelder ran wide coming into Mulsanne corner, and I think Nick van Gelder is just waiting for Tim Ventic because he knows that was his fault. And he lets him back pass. Fair play. Good on Nick van Gelder. Yeah, he got off the racetrack going into Mulsanne corner, where it's still wet, and on those slick tires there's no grip. That's why he lost it, and then basically spun into the rear. And there's a spin from that Tim Ventic and a big hit in Indianapolis. Max Mulder, the race leader, just escapes a terrible collision. The three Toyotas almost got into each other's way. Tim Ventic lost it coming into Indianapolis. What a scary moment for our race leader, Max Mulder. Wow. And I would not be surprised if Dementic received some damage there. That was a hard hit into the tire barrier. Oh, very wet there still. That's probably why someone like race leader and Nifangella makes a move here. I think that's why someone like race leader Max Mulder is probably waiting to go onto the slick tires. As we just talked about him, Max Mulder is now pitting for the dry tires. Waited a lap longer than Ventic and Vangela, understandably so. Orand is also into the pit, and I imagine Dion Stahl will go also pit. Tim Ventic and Ethan Gelder in the pits as well for the second lap in a row. That must be for repairs. Obviously, they both had contact on this lap, and yeah, Tim Ventic just had a huge hit into the wall. Just looking at the onboard of Nifangella. Nifangella has not suffered any damage. So the only reason I can think of, as the cars make their way out of the pits again, the only reason I can think of Nifangella pitting is to stay with Tim Ventic for battling. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like seeing something like this in a competitive race. This is not an open lobby race, this is a competitive race, it's about position, it's about timing. I don't like seeing this, to be honest with you. I understand that battling is fun, but we're still talking about the top 5 here in the SRL League, in the SRL League 2.4 Hours of Le Mans, and yes, these two want to battle apparently. And that's probably why Nifangella made that pit stop. Let's see. Yeah, he's clearly waiting for Tim Ventic. It's... If someone does that, it makes you wonder if they've lost their competitive edge, or... I mean, battling is fun, but you can do that outside of a competitive race. I mean, yes, they're probably not going to lose any positions, but... I just don't like the thinking of that. It's not the first time I've seen this, to be honest with you. Especially Nifangella is someone that does this quite often. I mean, it's nothing illegal, he's allowed to do that, and when a race doesn't go his way, that he just waits for people to race with. It's just not something that I personally like seeing from a race car driver, or a virtual race car driver even. In a competitive race, we're still talking about positions that want to be gained, and I think it's a bit disrespectful as well to someone like Sky, who's running in P7, who's taking this race seriously, obviously, and who could possibly gain a position here, and you can see just the cars in front waiting on each other to race, and that's a bit humiliating in my opinion for someone like Sky, who's running behind them. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this. Not a fan of this. The Onstar is still out there. I expect him to pit on this lap, obviously still on those wet tires. And Max Mulder has gone for his obligatory spin on the exit of Mulsanne. Wait a second. 11 liters less. I just left. I just thought about what if Dion Stahl wants to carry these wet tires all the way until the end. Obviously, it's gonna be totally dry at some point, but he got a 58-second gap, and that's probably the only shot that Dion Stahl has at winning this race. But obviously, with only 11 liters left in tank, yeah, there's no way he's gonna get to the end. He's lifting massively, though. There's something going on here with Dion Stahl. Not too sure why he's lifting so much. And now he's going flat out again. Going into Mustang corner, he lifted quite a lot, which is interesting to see. I don't know if that's his technique at the moment, going into that corner, but... Oh, very deep into Indianapolis, gets a bit of the gravel. Very deep into Arnage again. Yeah, it's definitely time for dry tires. Don't start struggling here. Tim Ventic moving back past Nick van Gelder. Which, in this situation, probably doesn't mean anything, because he's just gonna wait for Nick van Gelder again if he makes a mistake. I mean, at this point, if they keep this up, Sky might have a shot at the top 5 here. Sky running around half a minute behind them. They're separated by the Tête Rouge. Dion Star carries on. Now this is interesting. And Dion Star goes off. He's clearly struggling on those wet tires. I don't understand why he didn't pit last lap. I mean, he had the gap to pit on Kers Nurians. I don't see the reason why he's carrying on. I mean, he has to pit anyway because of fuel. I'm not quite sure. Look how much he's lifting. Yeah, I don't really understand what Dion Star is doing here. He's fumbling his P2. He's possibly throwing his P2 finish away here with this technique strategy. I'm not too sure what he's trying to do with 60 minutes left in this race. I mean, it's quite clear it's not going to get to the end, so I don't see the reason on saving fuel and carrying on, because it's dry conditions as well. And the gap is obviously coming down between him and Kers Nurians. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. We'll keep an eye on the install on how this situation develops. Van Gel and Bentix still battling. And that is Max Mulder, race leader, approaching them to put them another lap down. Be careful here, Mulder. And he's gonna go down the inside. Don't close the door there. Oh. Nick van Gelder. Excuse me, Tim Ventic. I don't understand with 50 minutes to go in this race why you would shut the door on the race leader like that, especially if you are multiple laps down. But yeah, now Tim Ventic grabs a little wide going into turn 2, and Max Mulder moves past him. Don't go for the move there. Well, I'm just scared of a possible disaster here with our race leader and the lap car. I really don't want to see that, as both of them just ran into the gravel. And now Max Mulder passing Nick van Gelder. And now finally Dion Star comes into the pits. And misses the pit lane entry. Chicane. plows through the gravel. And I'm not too sure if he's gonna lose his P2. He lost a huge amount of time on the last 2 laps, staying out too long on those wet tires. Did he just take fuel only? They gotta change the tires, don't they? Kasnukians passes him. Why does Dion Stahl did not change tires? Dion Stahl is still on wets. That's definitely his chance of a P2 over. Very odd. I'm very confused with this. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay. I mean, this track is basically bone dry. I hope for Dion Stahl's sake that he's not going to lose the podium because of this. I mean, there are a few wet patches, but clearly the dry tires are the preferred tires right now. Lee van Gelder spins coming out of the final corner. He dipped the right hand side tires into the gravel. Obviously no grip there, especially under acceleration, and he just dropped it coming out of the final corner. That moves Tim Vantik back up into P5. Saying that, Tim Vantik has gone for a spin in turn 1. I was about to say that closes the gap again between these two, but they're just gonna wait for each other anyway so they can battle. What a great recovery drive by Kaz Nurians. Twice. He's faced adversity today. Sky's gonna wires in the pits. Obviously on the race start, Kaz Nurians got tangled up in an incident that was not his fault. Guillermo Garcia went for a spin in the Audi and unfortunately hit the RWD of Kaz Nurians, and then later on, obviously in the middle of the night, Lee van Gelder lapped down, rear-ended Kaz Nurians and caused huge damage to the RWD. Kaz Nurians then somehow got this car back into the pits, made some repairs, and has now worked his way back up into second place. So what a fantastic recovery drive by Kaz Nurians here today. And I think he might be my driver of the day so far, at least. We got 10 minutes left in this one. So look at Dion Stahl. On his wet tires. He's taking it surprisingly easy. I really wonder what's going on with Dion Stahl. You can see on the right hand side the green bar, that's his throttle application, and he was lifting a lot. I think he was just saving up some boost, but then again, he just in the middle of the straight, he just lifted. In the middle sector, some drivers lift a lot to save some boost, some ERS up for the straight line, because obviously way more helpful in the straight line than in the first sector. Okay, still obviously doesn't explain why he stayed out on the wet tires. Dion Stahl is up and running and is looking at a podium here. Van Gelder pits, I imagine for damage. Bet Tim Ventic is pitting as well. Yes, sir. And there's no rear wing on Tim Ventic's car. So these two have probably come together somewhere. And this is gonna cost them a top 5 finish. Just what I said early on. These two want a battle. This is still a competitive race. And is the risk really worth it? I don't know. I'm not too sure if these two will be happy after the race, after deciding to take the battle over a P5 or top 5 finish here at Le Mans. But they are gonna lose that top 5 finish now with Sky Skandelmeyer coming into the final chicane now. Van Gelder and Ventic still in the pits for repairs. And with 7 minutes to go, Sky is going to move into P5, just in front of Van Gelder and Tim Ventic. Let's see what lap time Dion Stahl is going to post on this lap. Let's quickly have a look at the fuel situation of Cas Nurians. Cas Nurians currently running with 16 liters of fuel. That should be enough for another 2 laps. I think he can stretch it to 3 if he goes into lean mixture. Definitely quite close for Cas Nurians. I think race leader Max Mulder, definitely enough to go to the end. Dion Stahl posts a 3 minute 31. That is about 4 seconds slower than Cas Nurians on the last lap. So currently Nurians for sure is not using lean mixture. And the battle for P5 is on. As Sky Skandelmeyer against Tim Ventic, against Van Gelder, excuse me. Tim Ventic is about 5 seconds behind this battle. Van Gelder using all the slipstream going into Mulsanne. It's still quite wet in here, in this corner. Look how sideways both of their wheels went. And the rear wing goes flipping. And that was the rear wing of Sky Skandelmeyer. Van Gelder's just rear-ended Sky Skandelmeyer. That's the second time Van Gelder has rear-ended someone in this race. And without a rear wing, you got no downforce. And that is surely gonna be a pit stop for repairs. With 4 minutes to go here for Sky, who loses his possible P5 finish. I was about to say, it's really wet in that Mulsanne corner still, and on those dry tires. Very tricky. And Van Gelder just lost it and hit Sky. And Sky loses under power, obviously, with no downforce left. Oh, that is really unfortunate. And of course, Ventic and Van Gelder I'm just going to stay behind Sky. And I would put money on them pitting this lap as well to continue this battle. Sky is out of control there with probably suspension damage. I don't know. I don't like what I'm seeing here. They are just a moving roadblock right now. A danger to other drivers on the racetrack. Just to do this battle for P5. This is a competitive race, guys. Yeah. Don't like what I'm seeing here. Let's move to Max Mulder, our race leader. Kasnurian's fuel situation is definitely an interesting one. He got 11 liters left. And there, as Max Mulder goes deep into Mulsanne corner, be careful. With 2 laps to go. It's going to be a stretch for Kasnurian to do 2 laps with only 10 liters left. I'm sure he's going to move into lean mix now. Dion Stahl might still have a shot here at a P2 finish. Coming through the Porsche curves. Max Mulder is going to start his last lap of the race. His 41st lap. Here he comes. One more time around for Max Mulder in the SRL Le Mans 2.4 hours. Has got 7.4 liters left. Don't think that's enough, to be honest with you. We keep an eye on Kasnurian throughout this last lap, but we gotta stay with race leader Max Mulder on this last lap. He's won the 2.4 hours at Daytona, which was his first 2.4 hour win, obviously. Mulder has won at Daytona, he's won Le Mans last season, and he's now looking at adding another win here at Le Mans. It would be his 3rd 2.4 hour endurance race win. He finished 2nd at Spa in the Spa 2.4 hours 2 seasons ago. So he's still looking to add that one to his list. As he comes into probably his only weak point, Mulsanne corner for the final time. Let's see if he can keep it straight, especially on the exit. Obviously very tricky, that corner on slick tires, as it's still very wet. And one last little spin. Kasnurian is pitting on the final lap. I was about to say, there's no way he's gonna make it. And Nurian's pits for fuel. Is this a possible chance for Dion Stahl to pick up P2? It's coming through karting. We've got to keep an eye on Max Mulder, who's on his run down to Indianapolis on the final lap. Nurian gets going again. Just a quick splash and dash for him. Dion Star is coming through the final chicane. And he runs in the gravel. This is gonna cost him so much time. Nice voice crack. And Kaz Nurians out of the pit, and it's just going to be enough for Nurians to stay in front of Dion Star for P2. Dion Star third. Back to Max Molder. Through the Porsche curves. One more time. He's leading by over 2 minutes now, obviously with the pit stop of Kaz Nurians here on the final lap. The master of endurance racing, with another fabulous race. He won last year, he will win this year. Max Molder wins the 2023 SRL Le Mans 2.4 hours, back to back for the Dutchman. What a brilliant performance. And it's another win for Toyota. And he's gonna do his well-earned donuts. Almost beaches it. The battle for second. Nurians and Dion Stahl separated by about 4 seconds. This is Vantik and Van Gelder battling for P5 with Skandelmeyer. Or Sky, let's just say Sky. About 6 seconds behind them. Dion Stahl just lost it under braking into a Mulsanne corner, took out a few of the bollards, obviously on slick tires. Or, I think he's still on wet tires. I'm not sure, I think I saw wet tires on that Audi. Early on during the pit stop phase. And it looks like Tim Vandik is going to take P5 here, as he's currently clear of Nick Van Gelder by about a second. Nurians through Arnage. It's difficult not to put Max Molder as your driver of the day after that showing. But a close runner-up gotta be Kaz Nurians. The adversity he has faced today. 2 massive comebacks from incidents, damage. He's running in the single RWD on this racetrack. And it's going to take a stunning P2 finish. And Dion Stahl completes the all-Dutch podium. Logan Orand already crossed the finish line. And it's going to be Tim Vantik taking P5 for Toyota, a top 5 finish. Ahead of Nick Van Gelder and Sky Skandelmeyer for Toyota as well. And here are our official results, unofficial results, excuse me. We got Max Molder taking a second Le Mans win ahead of Kaz Nurians. Then it's Dion Stahl in third. Logan Orand finishing P4. Then it's Tim Vantik in 5th. 6th for Sky. 7th for Nick Van Gelder, who loses P6 due to penalties. Then in 8th place, the retirements, we have Jensen Randall. In P9, we have Cam Weston Edwards. In P10, we got Senna Hervaya. And in P11, our first retirement of the day, Guillermo Garcia from Spain. What a fantastic race we've seen here today. Obviously, a bit of controversy at the beginning of the race, of the confusion about Jensen Randall being listed a lap down after he started the race instead of race leader Max Molder. But I think Max Molder today was again unbeatable, and he showed again why he's being called the master of endurance racing in SRL. And yeah, very well deserved victory for Mulder here today at Le Mans. I hope you guys enjoyed today's coverage. You can check the links down below in the description for our SRL League Instagram page. Also check out our SRL League website. On both of them, especially on the Instagram page, you can stay up to date with highlights, results, interviews, and much more. We'll be back next week with the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, so stay tuned for that, with the F1 series returning obviously, and I'll be back on the grid there. You will have Lance LeBron, Kamikaze Fox, as he's known, in the booth. And yeah, stay tuned for some more SRL League racing action. Leave a like if you enjoyed this race, subscribe to the channel to see more of this racing. And I've been Sandro. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.